What is going on, people? Welcome back to the YouTube channel and another episode of Displaying Classic. It has been a minute and this episode is well overdue. I believe it has been almost 3 weeks since I last filmed an episode. Life has been lifing. Some pretty big stresses in my personal life, which I will not go into on YouTube, but I need to bring you guys up to speed. As you've seen this morning, it was check-in day, so I've sent everything over to Dan, and his response was pretty big. Some big changes to continue us moving forwards now that we are sitting at 9 weeks out from the first show of the season. He made some pretty big changes in the past few weeks anyway, in regards to some nutritional drops, since I last updated you guys. So I'm going to run you through where I currently am at with food, with cardio, with PEDs, because there has been some big changes. And today's video is just going to bring you up to speed, take you through a bit of a day in the life. I've put a question box up on my Instagram for a Q&A, and I'm just going to answer questions as we go. Just give you guys a bit of an update, bring you all up to speed as we really dig into the exciting part of prep, where the real changes are made and the exciting stuff happens. So let's start with nutrition. For the entirety of prep, we have kept one high day present on my quad bias leg day. This is to retain performance and, most importantly, to retain fullness and freshness within the legs, as this is the body part that we cannot afford to lose in this prep. And so many of our decisions from the onset of prep have been driven towards this. So we've kept that high day present. We're then using low days on our rest days to really drive fat loss. We are now down to 2,200 calories on our rest days, keeping fats low at like 50 and driving carbohydrates pretty low as well. On our training day, this is more of our moderate day, around about 2,800 calories here. Definitely starting to feel the pinch off of these changes, which has been nice because prep has been a breeze so far. So it's actually been nice to feel a little bit of fatigue, a little bit of hunger. I'll say a little bit of hunger, a fuck ton of hunger, because it actually feels like prep now. This is going to drive some really nice changes over the coming weeks. The goal is to be ready early. That is why this approach is relatively aggressive here and very individual to me with that leg day, high day. In regards to training, we have previously managed around a bit of a hip issue in the past few weeks, but now with some consistent tissue work from Sam, some mobility work and strengthening work, this is the best my legs have ever felt from like an injury point of view. So just adapting the approach slightly in regards to training, keeping rest times a little lighter, being emotionless with exercise selection and going towards movements which I am super safe in and can stimulate really well, and just having a little more auto-regulation on that front. In regards to expenditure, we've made some jumps for the first time today since the start of prep. Once again, not using expenditure to really drive fat loss because we want to keep the legs fresh, but there comes a point where the legs are feeling good right now and I'd rather push now than too late. So cardio is now up to 30 minutes in the AM, fasted. We're still at 4 rounds of posing AM, 4 rounds of posing post-workout. We're then going to be doing 15 minutes of cardio post-workout on training days, and then 15 minutes of cardio additional in the evening on rest days. So it's 45 minutes of cardio per day now, and we're keeping cardio off of that high day on that Monday leg day as well. So that is where expenditure is at, still keeping steps at 10,000 per day for now. On to PEDs, the juicy stuff. So my total anabolic load is still yet to surpass 1 gram per week. We have introduced a pretty potent 19 nor at an extremely low dose. I'm sure you can guess what that is, just to assess tolerance. We are doing this over the next 3 weeks as a bit of an experiment to assess how my body responds. We are 2 weeks in now. Don't really feel anything, which is positive. And we will then reintroduce this later on in prep at maybe a slightly higher escalated dose when it is going to be at its most effective state, essentially. So we are keeping everything pretty much the same on that front. Blood work came back, which was really good. I may briefly run through that in today's video, so super happy there. And then we are going to try something, a little experiment, a GLP-1 agonist something that is very popular, very hot in the fitness industry right now, with some mixed opinions. There is different GLP-1 agonists here. We are going to introduce Retatrutide. Now, this is not for an appetite suppressant. I can manage hunger, no issues whatsoever. But this is the only GLP-1 agonist that actually works on 3 different pathways. So it has a load of health benefits as well. Really good for metabolic health, so a little bit of a metabolic boost here as well. It's also really good at sustaining blood glucose regulation and essentially maximizing the effect of the calories that we are using. I'm pretty sure it's got some benefits around sleep as well. So this is going to be really interesting. There is some big athletes in the sport who absolutely swear by this stuff, Nick Walker being one of them. So I'm interested to trial this myself, see how I get on, see what the response is. We're going to go in at a stupidly low dose of simply 2 milligrams per week, and we're just going to see what happens. Okay, I think this is going to be a really useful tool and something that is going to be widely used in the coming years within the sport. So we're going to give this a go and see how we get on. But that is the update. These are the changes. I'm very excited to get to work with these now and see what this does over the coming days. You can see by the morning visuals that we are a lot tighter. 101 kilos. I have never been in this condition before. It is absolutely crazy to me. So God knows what stage weight will be. I am about to go on a 5-minute holiday. We're about to hop on a sunbed. I am priming my skin, getting a bit more of a base color, ready for a tan to make sure my skin is in the healthiest spot possible. Real minimal use, like once or twice a week at most, 5 minutes, just so I've got a bit of a base color. So I'm sipping on my new addiction at the minute, the cream soda Pepsi Max. Unreal. Out of the can. Sensational. So I'm going to go in, get a 5-minute holiday, and then we will hop into the first few questions of the video. Okay, people, so it is the next day, and today is a good day. I woke up this morning with a huge new low to kick off the next week, weighed in at 100.8 kilos after the new variables that were set yesterday. So they're already taking an effect, and I'm very excited because I think we're going to see double digits and break through to the 99s within the next few days. And it's also a great day because it is the Monday high day for my quads. So I'm going to kick the Q&A off here, which is perfect timing because the first question sent in over on Instagram is, do you have a pre-workout routine? And the answer is yes, and this is so important to me, and I think is massively overlooked by a lot of people, and has a huge influence on the success of your session and how well you perform within a session. I've been there where I've rolled straight from work, straight into the gym, and my headspace is in a very different place, and it's very hard to lock in, focus on the task at hand, and perform to a really high level. So I've started to place a way bigger focus on what I do on the lead up to the gym, and not only do I enjoy my training so much more, but I actually perform better as well. So that starts now, around about 1.5 hours out from my training session. I'm going to get my pre-workout meal out the freezer. I don't even need to say what it is. But we have a monumental bowl of cream of rice, much larger than I've been eating over the past few days. And what I like to do is sit down with my pre-workout meal. Work is now done. I'm not replying to clients at this point. Check-ins are done. My brain has switched now from coach mode to athlete mode. And while I'm eating this pre-workout meal, I will always put on a YouTube video of an athlete training the body part I'm about to train. This gets my head in the game, it gets me excited for the session, and sometimes I'm even picking up cues that I can then take into the session to make it better. So we have the big quad day today, which is a super important day. So I'm watching Keown's Road to the Olympia. He's training legs with Rafael Brandao. So excited to watch this. They always get after it. They always train hard. So no better pre-workout viewing. Once I've done that, I am then pretty much grabbing all my stuff together. It's about a 30-minute drive to the gym. I will play music that gets me in the correct headspace. I'll start sipping on the pre-workout around about 15 minutes out. I'll get to the gym. I'll then write out my logbook. and just walk on the treadmill for 5 to 10 minutes. Visualize what I need to do in the session, looking at the numbers I need to beat. I'll then get a bit of prehab and mobility work in, and then it's game on for the session. And this here sets me up perfectly, and I enjoy training so much as a result of that. So without further ado, this cream of rice is ready to be eaten. So I'm gonna get this in while watching the video, and then I'll answer another quick question or two before we head to the gym. And just like that, we have a very empty bowl. And it didn't even touch the sides. But there we go. I'm going to move on to the next question from Instagram. And that is, what are you struggling with most on prep so far? We are now 10 weeks in, and it has been so smooth so far. It hasn't even felt like a prep. I valued the routine so much. It hasn't felt difficult. It's been super smooth. Energy levels have been pretty good. Fatigue creeping up a little bit over the past few days, but really, really manageable. The only thing I'm struggling with it being my first ever assisted prep, is not having a true understanding of how on track I am with condition. I want to get, and I will get, inside out peeled this year, completely fat free. But in previous preps as a natural, I knew what my stage weight would be, or at least very close to what it would be. So it can be very easy to assess how far off you are, because you know how much weight you need to lose, and you can then align that with how much time you have left to ensure you stay in line with kind of rate of loss targets. But as an assisted athlete, especially being my first ever assisted prep, the body is recomping, and where we've put on so much muscle in the off season, I don't have a clue what my stage weight will be. So it's really hard to gauge, and I understand that we can push a little more assertively within an assisted prep as well. So I almost feel like I'm a little bit behind. But this is where, as an athlete, I've just got to trust Dan, and I do really trust Dan. I know he'll make the right decisions to make sure I'm on track and inside out peeled, and I think that's why we've made some pretty big changes this week. But yeah, I just like that reassurance knowing I've got this left to lose in this amount of time, let's get it done, because my scale weight's been pretty stubborn over the past 3 to 4 weeks. I've only actually dropped, well, it's around about 7-8 kilos so far, which isn't too bad in 10 weeks in the grand scheme of things, but it's definitely been relatively slow in regards to the rate of loss when I'm used to trying to be pretty aggressive at the gate. So it's been hard, but visuals are moving in the right direction. That is always the priority. So very excited to see how the next kind of 9 weeks unfold from there. Next question. What are you most excited for about getting on stage again? I think ultimately it's that opportunity to display what I think Classic is and present a wildly improved package. But I also love that competitiveness on stage. This isn't a sport where you get that competitive aspect on a frequent occasion. It's not like football where you get to be competitive at game day every single weekend. You prep for six months to be competitive next to somebody for 10 minutes. So I do really look forward to posing next to people, hopefully outposing people in regards to conditioning, and get beasted through some rounds. I like that competitiveness on stage, and I almost like taking on a bit of an alter ego. Because I never like to be cocky or anything like that, especially going into the standard this year. But I like to go out there with a little bit of an alter ego and just go up there and just own the stage, show some energy. So I really look forward to doing that and battering it out up there, going through some comparisons and rounds. So I haven't got time for any more questions because this pre-meal has 0 fats in it. So this is going to fly through me. So I'm going to head to the gym. So people, it is a few days on. I told you this vlog would be all over the place. I've just tried to pick up the camera where I could this week to give you guys a bit of an update and obviously continue answering all of the questions you sent across on the Q&A. But I've just picked up a very exciting parcel in the back. Something that I have been working on for the past few weeks, and I'm very excited now that I've come to collect it. So I'm going to head home. I'm going to show you what's in the box behind, because I've got a very busy morning before I head off to the gym again. And while I am going through everything in the box, I'll answer a few more questions. So people, what is in the box? If you've been watching this prep series so far and you watched episode number 3, you will know I've been working on some merch for the past few months for all of my clients. It's something I would love to do in the long run. Set up my own clothing brand, especially within the fitness industry, because I feel like there is a few gaps. So this is a good opportunity for me to trial run that process and see a product come to life from a design that I've made. And then also just get some unbelievable merch out to my clients. So I have picked this up from the printing shop. We have 3 different colorways. So I'm excited to go through these. I have to make sure they're all printed okay. Match them up with each client and their order, package them up, write a little note, and get them out to everybody, which is going to be super exciting. Post a few off, hand deliver a few. So it's going to be a very busy morning. I have like 1 hour to eat my pre-workout meal and get all of these t-shirts sorted and packaged. So, colorway number 1 is a ice white tee with a light grey print on top. So it's got the branding on the back, Team Aesthetics, and then on the front it's got the abbreviated logo with the athlete on the left-hand side. So that is color number 1. We've then got the washed black colorway, which you would have seen on the previous prep video, my favorite, with the jet black print on the front. Exactly the same design. This one's a little more low key, but I love this colorway. And then the third color we have, a jet black here with the white writing. We've chosen to invest in me because it means so much. So if you're watching this, it means the world. But I thought I would answer another quick question from the Q&A. Let me get my phone. So the next question is actually from a young athlete who goes to the same gym as me. And he asked, what is the best mindset for a team going into a junior show and what to expect on show day? So this is a really good question. And my biggest bit of advice would be not to determine the success of your prep based off of your placing. Base your success of the prep off of how hard you've worked and what package you put on stage. You do not control who turns up on the day, and you are going into a show against athletes who could have a few years more experience and have possibly prepped before. So the goal of show day is to go in, be as present as possible and enjoy it. Don't put any unnecessary pressure on yourself to perform, to place in a certain spot. Because show days can absolutely fly by. Especially if you're super stressed, super anxious, putting unnecessary pressure on yourself, it will take away from the experience. My first ever show, I was 20 or 19, going into a junior lineup, and I was telling myself, if I didn't get top 5 in this show, I'll never prep again. I'm not good enough for this. I don't have the genetics for it, which could have easily taken away from the experience of the day and my enjoyment of the prep. So I think it's really important to go in there with no expectations other than to work hard, be present and enjoy yourself, get stuck in and get that first bit of feedback from some judges to take you forwards into future preps. Your first prep will never be perfect. And another really important thing to note is that show day is very unpredictable. It's very erratic. It's all over the place. So don't expect it to go a certain way. Go in, be as relaxed as possible. Listen to your coach. Listen to the people giving you updates throughout the day of when you're going to be on stage, and try and not get too stressed when it doesn't go exactly to plan, because there is very little shows that run perfectly on time. So go there, enjoy yourself, be very present up on stage, enjoy every single bit of it because you've worked damn hard for it, and then obviously enjoy some downtime after with family and friends. So there isn't too much to expect on show day other than it will be carnage. Everybody flapping about all over the place. So just try and find a nice spot to relax, get your head in the game, remember what you need to do. All of this work has led up to this moment. So just soak that in and just enjoy the monumental occasion that is show day, because you've worked damn hard for it. And don't let it fly by in an instant because you're stressing in all over the place. So all of the merch has now been packaged up and it's in the back of the car, ready to be sent off. I wrote an individual note for each client in there just to say thank you. And my God, I haven't written that much since I've been in school. And my hand was numb as hell. I was getting a serious fatigue writing those notes, but I'm super excited for everybody to get their hands on this merch. And the whole process was so enjoyable for me. Finally, have got a fresh trim. I was nearly 3 weeks without one, so I feel like a new man. So I'm gonna quickly go and post all of these now. Okay, people, I'm very aware I need to wrap this video up, and I can't even remember what the last clip was. So I'm gonna finish this video answering the final 2 questions that were asked over on Instagram and give you a bit of an update to bring you up to speed for the final time. Because I'm aware this vlog has been spread across the space of about a week and a half. And then we'll go back to our usual routine weekly prep videos now that we are 7.5 weeks out from the first show of the season. So update number 1, Retatrutide. We are now a week and a half into using this compound. Haven't really noticed too much. There's definitely been a moderate blunting of appetite. I'm still extremely hungry for meal, but not to the point where I'm painfully hungry. So this has definitely helped with focus, work productivity, because I'm not clock watching for the next meal. And I'm sure a load of other benefits coming from this Retatrutide I won't necessarily feel, but will hopefully be displayed in blood work later down the line. So that is a huge positive. We also woke up this morning at 99.9 kilos. I have finally broken into double digits, and I truly feel like we're undergoing body recomposition here, because over the past week and a half, we've seen drastic visual changes without the scales moving much. So Dan decided to pull my cardio on Tuesday. I checked in Wednesday looking even better with a drop. So he's now decided to pull cardio for the rest of the week, which is a huge head fuck for me because I'm feeling so fresh and I'm ready to dig harder. I want that inside out condition. But Dan's told me to do the absolute opposite and pull back. And then we woke up this morning with another new low. So I am trusting the process. I am trusting Dan's eye, which is extremely experienced. This is a very new process for me where all of these tools are so novel, and I'm undergoing some body recomposition with it being my first ever assisted prep. So scales are not the main driver for decision making here. We're just going to keep doing the do, allowing the visuals to change and going from there. So very excited to see how all of that progresses over the next 4 days. We're also going to run another high day on my leg day Friday, and just keep assessing from here, which is very exciting. And I'll put the check-in photos up from yesterday's check-in on the screen, just so you can see where I'm at currently from a body composition point of view at this 99 or 100 kilo mark. So let's get through some questions. I'm gonna pop this back in a fridge. So the penultimate question that was sent over on Instagram is, if you were an online coach, what career would you have chosen? Now, this is one of 2 things. I actually wanted to be a graphic designer growing up before I got into the fitness industry because I love design. I've got a really creative brain. That's why I love editing thumbnails and using Canva and doing these YouTube videos, right? So that is a possibility. But if not, I have a huge fascination with nutrition. So maybe going down the nutritionist side of things with sports performance, I think that would massively interest me. And on the topic of food, I tell you what, I feel like I'm destined to be a food reviewer. And if I wasn't in bodybuilding, I'd want a food YouTube channel because I love food. I'm a foodie through and through. And I reckon I'd love to go around and just document different restaurants, different foods. And I'd have great fun doing that. And I'd still want to do that if I wasn't doing bodybuilding and I could eat off plan slightly more frequently than I currently can. So yeah, I think it would probably be down either graphic design or maybe the nutrition route and then food reviewer. But that can still happen once bodybuilding's said and done. I think we can definitely do that. Or maybe even wean it into an off-season setting maybe. Let me know if you'd like to see that. And the final question is, what is the best way to improve a weak body part? Now, this is not a quick answer, so I'm going to prop you guys down here and talk this through. So, I'm sure everybody within their physique development journey will come across having a weak body part. I have a step-by-step process when it comes to improving a weak body part with clients or with myself. First things first, why is it a weak body part? There is a 99% chance the reason that body part is weak is down to training execution. You need to go and scrutinize every single exercise you perform for that body part. Tear it apart, because there is no point jumping steps and adding more frequency, more volume, if the work you are already doing is of a poor quality. You're just doing more of what doesn't work. It's so important that you take a step back and analyze and tear apart these movements. What is the prime mover during that lift? Is it the target muscle or is it something else? How accurate are you in close proximity to failure? Is execution great, but when the set starts to get difficult, when those reps actually elicit an adaptive response, are you then using momentum, bringing in other body parts? Is intensity itself within the exercise of an adequate level to cause that adaptive response as well? So that is the first port of call. You rinse your execution before you go about adding any volume or any frequency. Step number 2, exercise selection. You need to pick movements that allow for correct alignment, that fit your individual biomechanics and anatomy, because there will be many movements that don't fit every individual. So it's really important to pick movements where you can maximize tension in the target tissue and also be able to progressively overload that movement safely over a long period of time. If an exercise has an inability to do so, it's not going to help you improve. So that is the next most important thing. I will have a balance of big compound movements. I never shy away from that. But then I'll also have some really good isolation movements in there as well for that weak body part. Once these two things are in place, you can now start to experiment with your frequency and with your volume. So we know the more volume you do within a session, the quality at some point will start to diminish. So instead of doing all of that volume less frequently throughout the week, you can distribute that volume more frequently, so the total quality of that volume you're doing is going to be much higher. So I would try and train that weak body part a minimum of 2 times per week. And if you can fit in a third frequency, then that would also be a viable option, or maybe a 3 times frequency across like an 8-day span. Then you can look at adding additional volume. This could be via additional sets. This could be via intensifiers. But remember, you can only recover from a total amount of volume across the week. So other body parts may need to reduce in volume to allow for the additional volume in the weak body part and still allow you to take steps forwards and progress because you're able to recover. Now, you want to try and work that body part up from its minimum effective volume up to its maximal recoverable volume. This is going to be individual to the person, their recovery capabilities, depending on so many factors. You need to find that. And this is where the beauty of the logbook comes in, because if you are continuing to drive up volume and you're still seeing progressions in the logbook, that means you haven't hit your maximal recoverable volume. So your logbook is your biggest feedback tool on this front. And the final step is patience. Building muscle takes time. You are not just going to blow up a weak body part in the space of months. You need to spend time in a consistent caloric surplus, slowly working your body weight up, driving performance up over a very long period of time. I will put a transformation up on the screen of a recent client improving his weakest body part, which was his posterior chain. So this is from post-show up to a year later. And this is the amount of progress that was made within the space of a year. I would argue this is a slightly more extreme case. This is a natural lifter earlier on in his training journey, and also executed the process very well. So they are my main tips. Other things you can do. There may be weaknesses due to neural issues, imbalances, so possibly looking at some physiotherapy work and some other modalities might be worth considering. But first establish why it's weak and then go through that step-by-step tutorial there to bring up your weak body parts. That's going to wrap up the video, guys. I hope you found some value in it. Sorry, it was all over the place.
life's been pretty crazy over the past few weeks. So I'm really hoping to bring out this consistent content again, because I swore to myself that I would not let this prep series end halfway through. So we are 7 weeks out. This is where it gets exciting now. So I'm going to try and document as much as I can. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. We are getting close to 1,000 subscribers, which is crazy. And the support on the past few videos has been insane. Like 1,000 views on both videos. So I'm super grateful for the support you guys have shown. So I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Like this video if you haven't liked this video yet. Turn bell notifications on, and I'll see you in the next episode.